Hi guys, we are going to grill up my favorite, some ribeyes tonight. These are actually budget-friendly, bone-in ribeyes from the local grocery store that just so happen to be on sale this week. So we're gonna check out this amazing marbling and this rib cap. So I will do an entire video on how to pick a good steak. Tonight though, we're gonna focus on how to cook it once you got it picked. First thing we need to do is set these steaks out to come to room temperature. So I haven't turned on the grill yet, I haven't done anything. About an hour before you cook your steaks, we're gonna get them out of this styrofoam that's holding in all that cold, and we're gonna set them out. My favorite way is paper plate on top of a cookie sheet with a cooling rack. This cookie sheet or the cooling rack is gonna serve as double purpose. Once the steaks come off at the end, we're gonna use this to rest the meat. So we're not gonna get something else dirty. Paper plates for the win. We need to set these out to room temperature. If you take a steak directly from the fridge and throw it onto a hot grill, the outside is gonna get nice and hot and charred, but your inside is fridge cold and it's gonna be really underdone. So to get that cooked evenly, you're gonna have to almost like burn the outside. So if you are cooking a steak and you have it dark brown on the outside with a red strip in the middle and it's not a nice even transition, you likely didn't let your steak come to room temperature first. So we're gonna set these here and walk away and go do something else because that's our meal prep, nice and easy. Once your steaks have been sitting out for about an hour, depending on thickness, you're gonna light your grill and preheat your grill. I just turned on the gas. For safety reasons, we leave that gas turned off until we're ready, and it kind of lets me know that I've made sure to turn it off at the end. So I'm gonna open it up and ignite my grill. Every grill is gonna be a little different. Turn the gas on, hit that starter button. I'm actually gonna light every single burner, even though I'm only cooking 2 steaks, just because I want things to heat evenly throughout. So depending on your grill, you'll know, but I'm gonna go ahead and light it, close it, and we're gonna watch the temperature gauge to preheat the oven or the grill all the way up to about 500 degrees. If you don't have a temperature gauge, I would give it a good 10 minutes with the lid closed to come up to temperature. When it comes to seasoning, your preference. There's a lot of difference of opinion on seasoning, especially when it comes to carnivore. A lot of people stick to salt only. If we're cooking inside on this cast iron, salt only is my go-to. Outdoors on the grill, my magic favorite seasoning combination is adobo and smoked paprika. I don't know why, but it's magic. So I'm gonna give this some nice, generous amount of seasoning on both sides. Depending on the thickness of your steak, would determine how much seasoning you really want to do. For a thinner piece of meat, you're going to want to go a lot lighter on that seasoning. So we're going to season up both sides, give it a good rub. And I've kind of made a mess, but that's okay. I'm going to take this seasoning, this is a nice thick edge and all this crispy fat, and I'm going to rub that edge of the fat in the seasoning that I kind of splashed everywhere. So now even that crispy fat on the side is going to have some good seasoning on it. Alright, we are seasoned up, we're just waiting on our grill to heat. My grill tools, good set of tongs, and a meat thermometer. For me, a lot of people can do it by feel, but I need a good meat thermometer to tell me when the meat is going to be the right temperature. So I brought my steaks out, have them all ready to go. I'll toss those paper plates, and then we already have our tray ready to take the meat off when it's time. The grill's been preheating for about 10 minutes. I'm close to 500 degrees, so I'm going to put these steaks on. I personally like to line up the fatty piece between the grates. So as the meat starts dripping fat, it's not going to light as many fires. Give a little pat. I'm not really sure why. It just makes me feel good about making sure the meat is all even against the grill. And I'm getting, you hear that sizzle? I'm already getting a good char. Quickly keep that lid closed, and we're not going to touch it for about 3 minutes. The grill is still on high, and I have not lifted the lid. So now we're going to open it and turn them 1/4 turn. I'm going to move them to a hot spot too. So again, we're getting that nice sear and nice and flat to make sure that there's a good char on the other side and there's no bubbles. We're going to give it a turn on a hot spot. Quickly close the lid again. Alright, it's been about 3 minutes in this spot as well. So we're going to take them nice right back to a hot spot. And see how the meat is curling a little bit? We're going to push it back down again. Flip it back to a hot spot. And I'm lining up that fat so it's dripping between the grates. And I'm not going to get as many little fires like that. Close the lid. Alright, on this side, I really didn't give them as long because they're already cooking. I'm going to do that 2nd quarter turn to a hot spot on the grill. And then now, get them nice and flat. All that good fat in there is making them curl. I'm going to take my meat thermometer, and now that they're about here, I'm going to start checking them. Personally, how long this takes is going to depend on the hotness of your grill and the thickness of the steak. So you'll have to learn that over time. What I'm looking for right now on a ribeye is about 135 degrees. For me, is about perfect. So they're not quite there yet. We're going to keep the lid closed. I will start checking them about every minute to make sure we don't overcook them. Alright, one thing too, I keep this little jar. This fire is not a big deal, but if you have an older grill or bigger fires, you're going to want to give that a little, keep your water on hand, just as a safety precaution. Also, when you're checking the temperature of your meat, you want to make sure you're only going halfway through. If I go too far down, this tells me it's 150 already, 180. But if I go right back to the middle of that meat, then I'm right back into that good area. So that one's reading 136. It's probably not necessary, but I like to check a couple different spots. In a ribeye, you have that outside piece that's a little fattier, and then I have the inside. The temperature is all going to depend on your preference as well. So it's probably a little more professional way of doing it, but I just kind of poke it a few times. And then we're going to pull them off the grill. And this is where the cookie sheet comes in hand. Now, first thing we do before we do anything is turn off the grill. You're going to turn your knobs off, close the lid, and I'm going to instantly turn the gas off, just as a safety precaution. Now we have our cookie sheet. We've come full circle. We have the cookie sheet, and the steaks need to rest. This is huge. They will still be hot and they will still be juicy, I promise. Letting the meats rest, depending on its thickness, is how long. These steaks, at least 5 minutes, are going to sit here above something where the juice can drip away from it. What's happening here is now the meat is almost like absorbing its own juices back again. If I were to take this steak and cut into it right now, there's going to be juice all over the plate, and the meat is not going to be as juicy because it's released all the juice. So if I can wait a few minutes, 5 or 10 minutes, the meat will still be warm. When I cut into it, the meat will be what holds all the juices back inside. I'm sure there's a lot more science behind it than that. Just trust me and don't cut your steaks too early. So we're going to let them rest on this grate, and then we're going to cut into them and enjoy. Alright, our steaks have been resting for a little under 10 minutes. It's time to eat. Put them on my plate, and I love to have some nice big thick coarse salt on top of it. So I usually sprinkle a little salt on it, and we'll dig in. Come here. Perfectly medium. Cute. I can eat this every day. You do not need to wait till your husband gets home to cook a steak. Okay, sorry. Keep going. If you cook a steak every day for a week, I guarantee you, by the end of the week, you are going to know how to cook a perfect steak. It takes a little bit of practice, adjust as you go. The hardest thing to know is how long to cook it on each side. You'll learn pretty quickly, and a good meat thermometer fixes everything. Comment below if this video healthy.
Subscribe, like, comment.
I hope this video was helpful, simple, and makes grilling a ribeye a little less scary. Comment below on other types of videos that you'd like to see, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.